When we last left our heroes, they pursued an old enemy, Korvaki, as he stood in front of a sloping pile of rubble, speaking to your group and taunting them, but also giving very valuable information that your patron, your benefactor, Oliver Saravina, was truly an ancient green dragon. As Korvaki, standing on the snout of a massive dragon, used the arcane shard, he took control of Magnus, one of the lieutenants of Miranova, awoke under Korvaki's control, and stood up, causing sunlight to filter in, as he appeared to be a very large portion of the mountain itself.
Okay,
so give me a second to sort this.
Killing Korvaki.
We just unleashing everything we have on Korvaki immediately?
Knock out Korvaki, or somehow get the shard of influence off of him.
Alright, where is it?
Well, it's implanted into his chest.
Correct.
My statement stands.
Riss,
I don't like that.
With a natural 20,
Yes.
you do see the structure of the cavern around you is not the most stable at the moment.
Oh, that's right. We're in a cave. We gotta go.
A cave where about half the cavern and surrounding structure is currently standing up. Riss, you're up first.
Alright, so describe to me, he's 100 feet away. Do you mean he is rising? Like, I cannot... Can I climb up the snout to try and get to him?
You could attempt to grab on if you want to.
Interesting. Alright.
You know, all of a sudden, I'm no longer excited to be here.
Alright, go ahead and make an athletics check.
Argument for acrobatics.
Athletics, unless you are trying to parkour and jump up, or are you trying to climb up?
What's the DC for parkouring?
It would be more difficult.
Do it. It'd be
Yeah,
cool.
Riss will parkour it.
So, next up is Ray.
Yay! Cool. Fly. On him?
On Einar.
Yeah.
Can you go ahead and make me an acrobatics... make me a dexterity saving throw, actually. You're attempting to fly through a lot of falling debris.
Oh, true. Okay, 15.
15? Pass. Einar, it is your turn.
Well,
You're flying.
he's flying.
Through the
Dashing
rocks.
through the rocks. Hoping not to die. Oh crap, I just did. It's time to say goodbye.
So Ray goes up, flies over, looks back. All right, I cast fly on them. They're good to go. And just see.
Yep. I promise I am not pulling a rocks fall, you all die. I promise that is not what I'm doing.
Hunter just sticks his thumb out. I'm alright.
I'm okay. It backs the ground. That's okay. Keen,
Yes.
you're up.
I've been thinking about what I'm going to do. I was very kind. If maybe some of you heard, I considered polymorphing Magnus, but that would mean that everyone on his back would be plummeting to their deaths.
Except me.
And so I did. Yeah, except for you.
You would be catching
So
Riss.
I have decided against that because I'm a nice person, even if all of this chaos is your fault. Okay, instead, can Dispel Magic work on the effect over Magnus right now?
Casting Dispel Magic.
Yeah.
At 8th level.
Uh-huh.
Dominate Monster is gone.
Wow.
Stuff.
What just happened?
Your daughter went, be still. And then Keen was like, be free.
Be free.
Who runs it? Einar, you're up.
Alright, cool.
The DM damage.
Locate creature.
You get 3.
I'm looking for an asshole.
You just close your eyes and, like a sonar in darkness, you just...
He's over there!
So, you watch as Einar flies in, and as the whip extends from his hand, and none of you see the target until he lashes out and just draws him in. And the whip is just like lashed around Korvaki's body as he just... while he's doing that math, Ray, what are you doing?
I'm gonna hold my action for when he gets dangled over the edge.
Okay. And what is the action you are holding?
I'm gonna talk to him.
Got it.
Okay.
Einar's gonna hold him out over the edge, look him dead in the eye, and go, "Look down. If you try anything, that's your future."
As you can see, this is quite a predicament you're in. Now, I want some information, and you're going to answer me. What compelled you to rob Saravina and come all the way out here?
I'm not exactly inclined to answer.
Einar squeezes the whip and goes, "But I can make the end far more painful."
I left because he gave what was promised to me.
What was that?
It was traded for your daughter. That item was supposed to be a reward for years of service, promised to me just as other things were promised to the others.
My interpretation of that was that a life was far more valuable than an object. Do you not hold the same view?
If you think that's why Saravina gave it to you, you're wrong.
You're talking about his grand plan, then.
Aspects of it.
Einar slowly walks up to him, holds up his hand, letting the whip disperse enough from his hand that he can see the mark. "Do you know what this is?"
A lock.
Do you know what it unlocks?
A god and a titan.
Yes. There are things that I will need from Saravina, taken by force, or if he wants to give it willingly. But it will happen, because that god and titan needs it too.
You won't have that mark for much longer.
Is he also seeking to bring back, to unleash this titan?
I believe his goal is to become the titan. It is my understanding that Varro is the titan of what we called the Shattered Realm. But the mantle of a titan does not make one immortal. And when one titan dies, it is passed on to another. The Shattered Realm is the largest plane that we know of, and the most powerful.
Einar releases the whip and asks Korvaki, "There's not much left of your soul. Do you wish to die?"
I don't think I have much of a choice in the matter.
Einar's gonna walk up. He's gonna lay a hand on Korvaki's shoulder, and he's gonna try casting Greater Restoration. Einar's good
For
now.
what it's worth,
Interesting.
I'd like to try and help as best I can.
Of all the things that
You didn't prepare for this?
you watch as he begins coughing up blood,
Okay.
as the shard that is currently protruding from his chest begins being pushed out.
Well,
Gaping chest wound.
if he's got a gaping chest wound, I guess I'm gonna cast a healing on him.
All right.
You can still hate us. Trust me.
I mean, we don't like you, but I see no reason for you to die.
It's a very confused man.
We're the good guys now.
Have we not always been the good? Well, okay.
You haven't always been the good guy.
I recognize
literally
I
does a
have been
turn.
flawed. I recognize I have been flawed.
Everyone makes mistakes. And he kind of looks at his right hand. But then everyone should have the opportunity to rectify those mistakes. Magnus, what are you doing? He kind of looks at the giant dragon here.
Do you want to go back to your nap?
I have business.
Is it business we can help with? Okay.
He kind of holds his hand up and just like...
Wrist will like...
If you don't jump on the hand,
wrist will
he's gonna
grip.
scrape you off his face.
Yes, let's jump on the hand. We're on the hand.
Yeah. And so he brings you down. Kind of just like tilts his hand as you just like little ants
Tumble.
hop off.
Okay. Let's go back to town.
You begin your relatively short walk, maybe 10 minutes, back to the town of Repose. Korvaki walking ahead of you, not trying to like get away, but just being like, I know my place.
Other than, well, idle chatter, I guess, because there's not really anything important for us to discuss, is there? Other than
the many, many important things that you have to discuss.
yeah, that's true. Ray has a very proud look on his face every time he looks over to Einar. Just,
Very nice.
I did good.
We should find somewhere safe to talk it out.
I would like to make the recommendation that we do not stay within the city this evening. Camping out somewhere in the forest. So, with the revelation that Saravina is, for all intents and purposes, directly against our current goals of helping Varro, to our knowledge.
What's our goal with Varro again? Are we not helping Varro? We're helping one of them, right?
Varro we are not helping. The Shadow King we are.
Okay, thank you.
I don't want to let him know what our next move is.
He already knows.
We could tell him
If
we're
we
headed-
change
well,
course, that would make it more suspicious.
we could tell him we're heading back to the ship in order to get ready for our next move and go right to the vault.
I'm concerned about lying. Anything that isn't technically true, depending on... There are lots of creatures out there that have an innate knowledge of if they're being lied to.
Yep.
Deceived is one thing, lied to is another.
Yep. I'm not that good.
We just have to word it carefully.
Should we ask him to bring the Camerites back so that there's the pretense of us still relying on him?
So we tell him we've taken care of Korvaki. He's no longer a threat. We tell him to send the Camerites back because they're no longer needed. And there's some things left in the town that we need to take care of. Some residual Korvaki.
I don't think we need to be that specific. Just, we gotta take some care of some stuff in
Depending on
town.
who's delivering the line, if it's me, I'd rather have you just...
The more vague we are, the more truthful we're being.
Take care of things here.
Yeah.
I like that. That's very vague. Okay. Now that I'm sufficiently stressed out about this sending, here we go. We've taken care of Korvaki. He's no longer something we need to worry about. Please return the Camerites. We are taking care of things here.
Well done. I look forward to seeing your next steps.
It's like passive-aggressive texting over here.
Mm-hmm.
Did we just break up?
Normal smiley face.
We just broke up over text, didn't we?
You're the only one in a relationship with him.
Yes.
Einar is going to walk away from the group.
Okay.
A good ways. Einar's going to cast Commune. Are you aware that Oliver Saravina means to take over your position.
Dropping that.
Hang on, let me go get you a big spoon so you can stir the pot a little bit more.
Make a persuasion check. There is a resounding answer to your question. The answer was no. But you see, splitting off from the shadow of the tree, as if walking around, but only the shadow is present.
Nice.
But you do recognize the silhouette of the regent. Whatever you have planned, I would advise you do it quickly.
I'm not planning on being slow. According to my source, his intentions are to replace Varro. I, of course, can't be 100% sure, but I can't take the risk and assume that it's a lie.
Fine. As you see, his hand reaches out, and in an unnatural way, each one of his fingers bear a very similar resemblance to Varro's, longer than they should be, double the length, and pointed, ending
Very
in sharpened
friendly.
tips, forming a cage.
I guess Eidar's gonna walk up and hold his hand up.
Just because you have gained favor does not mean that you are to be trusted. But I will serve our master. And the shadow that was in it vanishes. I advise you reach whatever goal you've set quickly. And the regent's shadow vanishes.
Herald, come forth.
Once more.
Nice.
It's good to see you, my friend. I hope it wasn't too unpleasant for you.
That would be an understatement.
Yeah, I kind of figured. But I appreciate what you did.
I've come to realize I am a fragment of his power, and I represent one of his traits.
Protection. Something you do very well.
Einar, by the way, would have pretty much immediately after regaining Harold would have.
Return to camp? I figured.
Yeah. So.
What specifically are you going to ask about Varro?
About
As a reminder,
his history.
it's not 3 questions. You get 3 stories,
Okay.
and you choose the subject of a story.
If we had to pick, it would probably be the Shadow King is what we should ask about. If we can't ask, if it's not like Varro / the Shadow King, then we probably should pick the Shadow King.
Why don't we just do who is or what is the story of Varro, the Shadow King?
And since we now know Seravina's real name, we can ask about that.
Maveris.
So while the 3 of you are asleep,
Oh no.
you find yourself standing on the surface of a endless black ocean.
Oh my gosh. Hey, Roy, can you give me a little bit of heads up before you do this? I want to sleep.
In typical cryptic fashion, there are no words. You just all find yourselves standing in a triangular, maybe 30 feet from each other. And you all look down. And you see a bright blue light. You watch as the bright blue light gets closer and closer to the surface until it bursts forth, and you see bright blue flames, a pillar of it, shooting past the 3 of you.
I want to touch it.
as the jet of flame stops and you collapse to your knees.
Don't touch it!
You look down and see a large, dark shape moving through the water. And you wake up.
Okay.
That looked like a dragon.
That spit blue flame. What dragons spit blue fire?
Well,
Pissed off red dragons.
there's a specific class of dragon that you've encountered one of so far. Miranova's lieutenants. It could be a warning.
Yeah.
As in, we're going to meet Ignis at the vault? Type of deal?
Essentially.
Jeez.
I wouldn't be surprised.
All right.
Oh, I
Are
could
we?
go my path.
Is there any reason that we're not going?
No, other than the shock of the dream we all just had, no. So, when you're ready.
All right. You arrive. Surrounding you are crags and mountains of red stone. There's this orange sand at your feet, familiar, as you are back in the Arisian desert. Sure enough, from behind one of the crags, a massive, black, scaled creature
There it is.
with glowing blue light emitting between his scales, as Ignis, the guardian of the vault, shows his face. What would you like to do?
Oh, I think I'm going to say roll initiative.
No, he's not attacking quite yet.
Hang on.
What brings you?
Oh, is he saying this in common?
Yes, he is.
Oh, wow.
We have been sent here on behalf of Iroi. He is the one who told us of this place, because at the moment, there is a great calamity heading towards this realm. And we intend to stop it.
I shall deign not to use the highest intensity of my flames, then. You have come here from Iroi. There is still one last challenge you must face, as I am sworn to protect this place.
Must have gone, alright. Try my blade. He pulls out a scimitar and goes, bring it, reptile.
And with that, Riss, you are first up.
Indeed.
The instigator.
That honestly makes sense.
Oh, and it's okay, I just start things.
Oh, jeez.
That was a risk comment for you.
You literally did just change what Ignis was going to do.
Beautiful.
Excellent.
Ignis was
Thanks for
going to
being
use a
sacrificed
breath
for us.
weapon
Yeah.
Well done.
on that entire group.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I
My
went off to
statement
the
stands.
side, yeah.
My statement stands. You're really good at
is now his
pissing
turn.
things off and
Yep.
taking their...
As we discussed before, Riss is great at getting attention. He's just not good at retaining it.
Right now,
Riz has
she's
literally
not.
been
She's not actively taking
Bitten,
damage right
falling
now.
down,
So
healed, pot shot missed, smacked with the tail, and he's gonna get healed again. Can you imagine the toll it takes on a body to be like
Teamworking.
repeatedly wounded and healed and wounded and healed?
All right,
It builds
that's the end of
character.
Keen's turn.
It's Bill.
Riss,
Listen, a little much
you are up.
A little much more character here, and I'm going to develop into a villain.
Did you miss every single...
I'm
attack?
about to. Oh, that's not a
that is
D20.
not.
Yep, missed
Ah.
every single attack.
Oh
Wow.
my goodness. The
Incredible.
dice.
Riss just stands
Not your
up
favorite.
and is just going like, ah! just clattering against the scales of the dragon.
Yep.
Riss
Question.
Yes,
How far can I go that way?
as far as you want.
Okay. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 60.
He's not even on the camera anymore.
He's over there.
He's at 24.
Oh my gosh.
You're welcome.
How are you able to hit 4 times?
Because I missed 4 times last time. The dice was like, alright.
Also, how are you still alive?
Yeah. That, yeah.
So you should be saying the other half of that side of things.
Yeah. A thank you.
There you go.
You're welcome. As a thank you.
Ray wouldn't kill him.
You know that he is bleeding. There is like this golden, etheric blood coming from his wounds.
I take it back. That's not what I'm going to do.
Okay.
Because my objective isn't to hit him, it's to go... I'm going to use my action to say things again. Ignis, I understand that you have made a promise. I'm not sure what that promise is, but I can take a good guess. And I think that you have done this. You have executed this task valiantly. I don't want your story to end here. Have we proven ourselves?
If Ignis
It's getting
shows
worse.
signs of lowering his aggression, Einar will choose to heal him.
Ignis had... Okay. I'll say this. Ignis's tail is still poised, but he had an opportunity to use a legendary action after Ray's turn.
Oh, that's
And
true.
did not.
That's true. Okay.
Riss.
Riss, having been smacked like 20 times, knows he could have smacked him again. And so Riss will sling his bow and look up at him and say, I actually enjoyed that fight, which isn't something I usually say with dragons.
Ignis, being the third lieutenant of Miranova that we've met, I'd have to say that I am impressed with all three of you so far. And I respect each and every one of you.
And for the record, you are my favorite.
How much health do you have?
I have enough.
Before these two persuasion checks, he was seriously considering just like giving you one last bap even after combat was over.
Oh, Riss would be hella pissed.
But he kind of just... Your reverence and respect is appreciated. And the respect is returned.
Riss is going to kind of sit down, clasp his hands. All right, I did my job. Let's get our whatever it is from these statues. Books. That's what
I
it was.
assume you're...
As you place your black book on the pedestal, you feel your connection to it fade. The book flips open.
I would like to know the story of Maveris, the Prowler.
As you see in the pages of the book, the words you spoke, Maveris, the Prowler. And that's on one page, and on the other, a beautifully detailed inscription showing a familiar green dragon.
I want to know the story of how the gods came to be.
And you see a set of symbols appear, each corresponding to one of the ancestors.
I want to know the story of the Shadow King.
Above the title of the Shadow King, you see the name Serovas. The floor beneath you is like a massive geode, cut in half with a shimmering surface. And it's like looking down at a glass cover over it. But you watch as the crystalline interior begins falling
Are we falling?
as the five of you collapse, as your minds enter the Vault of Dreams. Many, many years ago, during a period known as the Age of Dragons, when eggs were once again hatching after hundreds of years of persecution, one such egg, a verdant emerald green, hatches alone, and a young wormling of a green dragon crawls his way out, blinking into the sun. This young dragon soon chose a name for himself: Maveris. And it was while he lived in this tower that he read a story, the story of Mithra, a lich, a powerful spellcaster, and one of the greatest masterminds in all of known history, who wielded a crown and a gauntlet of his own design, and was the sworn enemy of the hero Cassandra. Many saw Mithra as a cautionary tale, but not Maveris. Maveris viewed him as a goal. He spent decades searching, following their trail from Mithra's defeat, until he realized that the trail ended in the court of the unseelie Fey Queen. He made his way to the Feywild and found a man who had a meeting set up with the unseelie Fey Queen. Used a soul cage to snare his spirit before it could escape, and took on his form. He took the man's meeting. The queen, prideful in her own right, thought not to question whether the man who stood before her was what he claimed. It had been millennia since anyone had been able to lie to a Fey, and a man wearing the right face, knowing the right things, turned up exactly when he was scheduled to. There was nothing to give her pause. She thought about it and decided to agree, though she would only grant him the crown. Not all valued Mithra's intellect, but all knew of his power and notoriety, and the presence of his crown in a dragon's hoard was a mark of great prestige. Which is why it was not long before a great ancient red dragon named Caladeros broke his way into Maveris' lair, completely overpowering him, and took the crown for himself. He spent the next few centuries taking on many different apprentices, and you see before you groups of 3, rising and falling, rising and falling, being sent into the shattered realm. Because Maveris would not allow himself to be overpowered again. Maveris discovered the nature of titans, a mantle that is passed down as each previous one is killed. And he discovered that the Titan of the Shadowfell had the ability to create domains of dread. These domains of dread would be his new collection, and the perfect place to deal with the red dragon that had wounded him so. And so he devised a plan to use the orrery of the Wanderer to open a gateway, to bring Varro to the material plane, and kill him. All that would be required is breaking the cage and collecting the pieces. But you watch as he has a moment of realization. The orrery would no longer be required, for Varro, now holding the power of a shard from the Shattered Realm, would enter the material plane of his own accord the moment his cage was open.
My bad, guys.
And so he waits, preparing a weapon to kill Varro and take on his place as the Titan of the Shadowfell. And so the second story begins.
Cool. I just want to get to Varro.
Episode 2, baby.
The story of the creation of the gods. In the beginning,
That was the word. Oh.
there was the light
So close.
and the dark. Two primordial entities, constantly at war. The manifestations of potential. The potential for good and the potential for evil. And from that conflict came everything that you know. The first world created was known as Comer. There were 3 races that walked the surface. Humans, dragons, and fae. And the humans in this world could not wield magic in any form. That skill was reserved for the fae and the fae alone. Humans working on the surface, multiplying. The fae being the guardians of all things magical, and the dragons being the caretakers of the world itself. Until an emissary of the dark came to stand beside the Fae Queen. This emissary whispered to her, convinced her. The Fae were superior to humanity.
Freaking Sauron over here.
Fae Queen Eve?
The Fae deserved better than to share a world with the brutes of humanity. The Fae would be better off if they were able to separate. Until the Fae Queen tore her realm away, resulting in an event known as the Shattering. It caused rifts in the walls of reality and the most potent form of raw magic to leak through. On one continent, there was a tribe in the desert. The leader of this tribe was headstrong and prideful. And he believed that in order to quell the Shattering, a sacrifice was required. And so he and the other elders of the tribe took a young girl and threw her into one of the rifts. Her screams could be heard the world over, as Zahira, the lost girl, one that you know as one of the Forsaken, came into being. A pulse of energy rippled across the surface of the world, and on the exact opposite side, a council meeting was being held. In attendance, Miranova, the Queen of the Dragons, Sarovas, her husband, Seravas's sisters, Chimera and Yinzi, Ku Kanal, the Silver Prince, all of them collected, trying to solve the problems, trying to decide what to do about the shattering. And as Zahira's screams reached the palace and the energy wave that followed, a massive rift opened in the center of the room, transforming the mortals within. As we hear the story of Seravas, the Shadow King. Long, long ago, in the world of Comer, the kingdom of Celius, a king and queen celebrated the birth of their son. He met someone, a young girl who had snuck in through a back door and a window. A young girl named Akela. They spent hours and hours in that library, reading stories and playing games together. And the royal family adopted Akela, who decided to choose a new name for herself. Yinzi.
Alright, there we go.
Years later, he found himself in the palace garden when he met a woman.
Gee, I wonder who that could be.
Draped in a purple dress. And he fell for her immediately. He watched from the side as she spoke to his parents, the king and the queen, and he was enamored. He spent the next year showing up with gift after gift for her as he courted the Queen of the Dragons. But Seravas's attention was pulled away due to the beginnings of an uprising in his kingdom. One of the leaders of this troop of soldiers died, along with many others. And that leader's daughter was not happy that her father's life had been so unceremoniously snuffed out. Started a coup, and Seravas and his parents were forced to leave. There was a weapon that belonged to an archfey that lived deep in the forest. This weapon would mean that he could challenge Asnarim in single combat, for if he wielded it, the army she had raised would not stand against him. Only she, at the heart of conviction, would dare. And so Seravas left. He was guided by a woodsman, the protector of that forest, a man named Hanar. And taken to this fae. This woman proposed a game. Her spear was the weapon the Fisher King had advised Seravas to find. But she would not give it up without a bargain. But she required that he put something at risk as well. The first thing she asked him to bargain was a peaceful death. And he did. And he lost. The second that she asked for was the heart that belonged to him. And he did. And he lost. The third was the will to fight. And he knew that if he lost this time, he could go no further. But he had not come this far to stop now. So he bargained. And finally, he won. And so, he marched back into the capital city of Celius, until he came face to face with Asnarim. And he challenged her. If she won, if she killed him, they would cede the throne and the kingdom. But if he won, the coup, the rebellion, would end. They fought, and it was a hard-fought battle. But Saravas won. And instead of striking her down, Saravas offered her his hand, picked her up off the ground. She was not wrong in her conviction. What his father had done was not right. And he could never, ever replace him. But together, they could do better. She earned his loyalty that day. And she too was adopted by the royal family and took on the name Chimera.
Here we go. Nice.
Before Saravas' father ceded the throne. And Saravas was left with quite a few messes to clean up. The kingdom was in a state of turmoil, even with Yinzi and Chimera by his side, helping him. He was overwhelmed. But he had a thought. And he once more sought out the Queen of the Dragons. Saravas came to her one last time. And she saw how he had grown. And she said yes. But following their marriage was a period of prosperity, until they heard whispers that the Fae Queen had a new advisor. As the sky above them shattered, the kingdom, the world, was sent into turmoil. And so they called a meeting, gathering every king that they knew, every leader. He gathered the protector of the forest that had guided him so many years before. And as the air before them tore open, and energy, the raw primordial magic beyond the world itself, poured through, they were transformed. Saravas, the god of shadows, protection, and leadership, he would stand, and all those in his shadow would be protected. But that gave Marinova an idea. Already being a dragon, the queen of the dragons, the power that had been granted to her by the event that turned them all into deities, was far greater than the others. And she used that power to create a safe haven, to create the world of Arklands. And Ceravos stood. Miranova on the other side, as he held the doors open, so that as many people as possible could pour through into this new world. And he held those doors for as long as he possibly could. The world began to merge with the Shadowfell. And Ceravos was corrupted, the new Shadow King. Who he was had changed, but there are some things about a person that never can.
That's what I want to hear.
And as a result, the world of Arklands was left alone, for he knew it was the realm of his wife. Until he discovered that she had been slain. At this point, the ire, the wrath, the fury that he had contained for so long out of the remnants of love for his wife poured forth. It would have spelled destruction for all of Arklands. Had 3 deities not come together. With Kina forging chains that could bind him, Kasala draining his strength, and Amar conducting a powerful ritual, they were able to bind the Shadow King within the Shattered Realm. And that is the story of the Shadow King.
No.
But, yeah. Discussion, guys. Let's have a little round table here. What do we do?
As your bodies
No, don't take me away yet. We need discussion.
begin to stir, and your minds are returned to them. Passive perceptions?
Saravina,
26.
I know you're watching. Why don't you come here?
Don't summon the man.
I think I have a better idea. As you see a portal open behind Einar and draw him in before immediately closing.
Can I fight that?
Nope. You see before you a familiar green dragon. I need you to roll initiative. As you see that you have arrived in a ritual circle.
Alright.
He is going to, on his turn, make his way over to you and attempt a grapple check.
He's gonna look Saravina in the eye and say, "This is the biggest mistake you will ever make."
A pity you won't be around to see the rest of it.
Fair.
As you feel an absence that you have not felt for years. As the last vestiges of the mark are drawn from your skin.
Can I pull out the whip?
You can.
I'm gonna smack him with it.
Make an attack roll. You two see
Yeah.
the portal open
I would run through
roughly 30 feet in the air.
it. Oh.
No.
He wasn't going...
He's gonna chuck me 30 feet to the ground.
Yes, he was!
Misty step. This is gonna look really quick at Ray. And he'll Misty step up.
You just teleport and are like on the ledge as you just see Riss's hands at your feet.
How we doing, Einar?
Bad.
What's after the fire? Because we went from the frying pan to the fire, and now what's this?
Hell. Is he wearing Yunzi's crown right now?
It is atop his head.
Take it.
I want it.
Yeah.
How do you plan on doing this?
I have a fly speed of 60 feet, right?
Yeah.
And he's right by the portal.
He's
He is currently in front of the portal.
and he's contesting with me.
Would that be an attack roll, sleight of hand?
I don't know.
Contested strength?
I don't know. I would say you're going to make a sleight of hand check against his dexterity save.
Okay.
That is a 19. Which beats his 18.
Oh my god.
You grab the crown.
Yikes.
The portal closes. And you can cast Gate at will.
Got it.
With a caveat.
Yeah. Roll a d20, right? Or something like that?
I think is it a D?
Yeah, that's
D100.
right. Where we release some crazy creature.
Yeah. So with one attack, he has pinned you down.
Okay.
I feel like you've earned this. And he's going to reach with his other hand. And with you pinned down, he is going to attempt to take the staff from its holster on your back.
Okay.
We'll take a crown for a staff.
No, I want that staff.
I
dude.
know you do.
That staff.
This staff is everything.
But it was the thing that he would do is either kill you
Yeah.
or make it hurt.
Okay.
And
That's fair.
he did the dumb thing, which was to make it hurt.
Okay.
Because
got
killing
it.
you would have done both.
Exactly.
You conjure a portal
Ray goes-
linking an unoccupied space you can see within range to a precise location on a different plane of existence. The
Yep.
portal is a circular opening which you can make 5 to 20 feet in diameter. You can orient the portal in any direction you choose. I open it below us, all three of us,
I figured.
to Makoto. Okay, good.
The claw is right on top of Ray. Riss is going to try and drag his paw so when the portal closes, it's...
He is pressing
Make an
down.
athletics check. As you grasp onto Maveris' claw, bringing
Which
it
hand
through
is it?
the
Which
portal.
hand is it?
the
Right hand.
Suck it, bitch.
And Riss is gonna go, close it!
The last thing you see as the portal closes above you is a disembodied green dragon claw.
Riss,
But the claw, nonetheless, falls.
That's a loss for an artificer.
Hang
To
on
the
to this.
ground.
We have his body now. We can use it against
And
him.
as you all lay there,
Healing.
I'm going to assume you heal, but the specifics we will get back to, because that is where we're going to end tonight's session. Thank you all for joining us, and we will see you next week for another episode of The Outsiders.
toodles.
Good night!